to be appearing for a Q&A, but he is. He just keeps coming over there, right? Which is kind of crazy because usually legendary people of that stature, right? They might do a Q&A like one time, or they're very limited and restricted and, This dude, I wasn't able to go to a bunch of the screenings because I was doing shit, but I went to the one for Death at a Funeral, which I hadn't seen. Or I guess I knew there was a movie with that name, but I didn't really know anything about it.
I have also never seen that movie.
You should see that movie just to see the acting of Alan Tudyk, if nothing else. Alan Tudyk plays a dude who takes a hallucinogenic drug and is tripping for the majority of the film. And to be able to act as a person, he's not acting as a person who's hallucinating. Obviously, he didn't use drugs for real. He's acting at a person at a funeral who knows he's taken drugs and is trying to keep it together, but has taken a very strong hallucinogen at the same time. And so just that alone is worth seeing the movie, but the rest of the movie is also hilarious. But regardless, this dude does something I never seen before, which is he shows up and watches the movie. Most of these Q&A people, it's like they show up when the movie's over, and then they leave.
Like they roll in, maybe they sit in a green room for 10 minutes, they do their thing, and they GTFO.
I saw him just walk in, and I'm like, is that him? And he just sits down and watches the movie, and then at the end for the Q&A, sure enough, he stands up and just goes and sits on the thing.
I mean, think about how you would be if you were notable enough to where if you went to any institution that was related to your stuff and was like, hey, you want me to do a Q&A? They would be like, oh, sir, please.
This guy's right. And then when the Q&A actually comes, right, this dude is 80 years old, I think. Dude has a better memory than either of us. This movie he made in 2007, right? So what can you remember about a Geek Nights you did in 2007? Right?
I mean, this dude, I did do commentary on old Geek Nights from 2005.
Right. This guy remembered like all the details of making this movie, how they made the set, how he casted the people, how he remembered specific like direction he gave to people in specific scenes to get them to perform in a certain way.
I remember the production of the Katsukan Late Show in excruciating detail.
Sure. Okay. I remember a little bit. Right.
You fell asleep on stage while Steve Bennett was talking about his hat.
Yeah. This is the kind of guy where like the moderator guy would ask like one question and he would just go off, right? Talking a whole bunch. But even though he talked a whole bunch, he didn't stray off topic, right? He was answering the question in like, incredible, fascinating detail. And so just to even be in the same room as a legendary person like that is like, but he's going to be there again. They're showing Empire Strikes Back on Saturday, which I saw, but he wasn't listed as showing up for that. But then they edited it and they're like, you know what? He is showing up. And it's like, all right, well, I guess I'll go watch the crappy special edition because you really don't want to just show up for the Q&A only. Yeah. That's kind of weird, right?
I haven't seen that movie cover to cover in a while.
I've seen it probably, I don't even know how many times. You know what? I can't remember Geek Nights in 2007. I can probably write down the script for The Empire Strikes Back. Right. Okay. So, yeah, that's something. If you're in New York City, if you have any, or based on wherever you are in the world, if you have a chance to be in the same room as Frank Oz, you should take yourself up.
Saturday, 3 p.m. at the Redstone Theater.
Yeah, don't pass it up. If for some reason you didn't know who Frank Oz was, what the?
Well, you're about to find out. Hopefully,
I don't know.
Just go read his Wikipedia.
A deserving legendary person. If I end up like that kind of old man, that would be terrific.
So in some news, so if you're not a Magic person, you may not be aware that of all the ways to play Magic, there's a way that is very popular called Commander.
Yeah, this is where you put out like your planes. I don't know the details. I've never played Commander, to my knowledge.
I know vaguely the details. So it's
like a planeswalker, and you put it out at the start of the game, right?
Unlike old. Now I don't know. Magic's changed a lot since like 1993 when I played Magic a lot. But it used to be there's a minimum deck size. Commander, there's just a deck size, 100 cards, no more, no less. 2, you can only have 1 of any card, no other than lands, no 4 of a card. It's just 1. You can use almost any card. Like there's very little that's banned, but 1 of anything, no matter what. So you got to fill out a deck of 100 cards with only 1 of any one given card. So there's a lot of randomness in there. Like your deck can't be that well tuned. But also, you got to pick your commander. And basically, the way it works is you pick one of those legendary type creatures. Like, the ones that like in the old Legends.
The Planeswalkers, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Some really strong commander character.
They come out of where these come from is in the old days. Now this is really old man talking. None of you played Magic when like Legends was out, but in Legends that introduced gold cards, and gold cards were the cards that had like a bunch of different mana types. Like, yeah, here's a 2020 dragon that kicks ass, but guess what? You need like 4 different fucking colors to play it.
The original name of Commander mode was Elder Dragon Highlander.
Yep.
Which you use those Elder Dragon cards from the Highlander set, from the Legend set.
Yeah, because there was really no other way to play those cards. Like there was no universe where those would naturally come out and play.
Yeah. So that's command, and you've seen like these mechanics from Commander have been borrowed in other games like Netrunner, a lot of Star Wars card games. A lot of these card games, you have a character that has some like base set of abilities, Hearthstone, right? That you sort of put out at the start of the game as like, this is who I am, right? This is my special base ability. Like you're playing, a board game like Dune where you have a character, or a fighting game. And then you build your deck to complement your main character's ability. So, Commander, this, mode someone came up with, other card games have then borrowed from that a core mechanic and reused it because it's a good idea.
Yeah, and it really evolved from the old Star format that I'm pretty sure has been dead for multiple decades. That was like the 5-player version of Magic that was semi-official. Might have even been published official rules a long time ago, but it's dead. It wasn't even that good. But it does a lot of clever things, like your commander sits in a special area, and you can play them like a card into the board at any time, like as a creature, and do their thing. Or just keep them like out of the fray. And it's a free-for-all, like 3 to 5 players, so the politics of, I just attacked Scott, totally come into play. And it seems like, I've never played Commander, but it seems like it is really fun. And it seems like the community broadly really likes to play Commander.
Of course. I mean, it's a way that somebody can play and enjoy the fun parts of Magic the Gathering without spending a fortune, right? To get like 4 copies of like every insane powerful card, right? Because you can only, right? And then you get to, there's a lot less of, oh, that guy just has all, beat me because, he's super competitive and made a streamlined deck. And also a lot of cards that you would never play in normal Magic, you're sort of forced to play with more varied cards, and you get different hands each time. So if you look at, say, Marvel Snap, where you have Arishem, which fills your deck with a bunch of random cards, right? That's the same kind of fun element that Commander has, where it's like, yes, there is, you still get to keep the element of self-expression and deck building, because you're still choosing 100 cards and choosing a commander, right? And so there's still your personality makes it into your play style gets shown, but there's also sort of wild elements, right? To not the kind of randomness where it's like you win and lose based on luck, although there is some of that, but the kind of random elements where there's, surprise and discovery that occurs.
However, in this format, despite having 100 cards, over time, there were a handful of cards, 2 in particular, but really there's like 4 or 5. There's 4
recent ones. Yeah.
But these cards, despite 100 card decks, basically had to be in your deck if you wanted to win. Like they were increasingly like dominating the meta. You kind of needed them. Like they're just great in this format. One of them's even
your
designed.
odds of drawing them are low.
Yep.
Because 1 in 100, right? You might not ever draw it unless you have another card that helps you draw more, which you probably do. But you got to draw that, right?
I wonder if I haven't checked. I wonder if I can use Demonic Tutor in Commander.
Right. I don't know, but the point is that you want one of these cards are going to be one of your, or too few of your 100 if they're allowed. And so in order to play Commander, even though it's not a super competitive mode, all the time, you're going to want those cards in there. And so everyone who plays Commander, it's like, yeah, they got 90 other cards to pick from their own, but like these ones you need. And so the prices of those cards went up. And even with 100 cards, it's, that's still only like 2 decks of playing cards. The odds aren't that bad. It's sort of, right? It's like, you got to do something about that.
Yep.
Right?
So Jeweled Lotus, Mana Crypt, Dockside Extortionist, Nadu, Winged Wisdom. So because of this
is old news, by the way.
Yeah, so this is 2 months ago.
There is a newer news.
Exactly 2 months ago, this news on September 26th, and we just haven't been doing Geek Nights consistently because a bunch of stuff happened.
I was going to talk about this at the time.
Yep, that's why I had it in my queue. So
maybe I did and I forgot.
There is a group that basically governs the Commander format.
It's not WotC.
Yep, it's not WotC. It's independent. And their mission seems to be to make the format fun. They don't care about how WotC monetizes Magic the Gathering. They don't care about the secondary market of Magic the Gathering and all the bad things about Magic the Gathering. They want the Commander format to be fun, and they identified that these cards were making the Commander format increasingly unfun.
And also difficult because, Commander is a way for someone who's not super competitive to enjoy playing Magic.
Yep.
If there's even a couple super expensive cards that they feel like they need to be able to even play Commander and have a chance that other people have, then that prevents a new player from playing Commander. They just can't. Anyone who plays Magic has at least 100 Magic cards, right?
Yep.
But if you can't, put together a Commander deck because there's 2 cards that cost a lot of money, that's keeping new players from playing Commander. That's not fun. You want this to be a mode that anyone who's got 100 Magic cards can play meaningfully.
So they banned them, and a subset of the Magic fandom, the ones who I'm just going to say are kind of bad people, who are tricked by this nonsense, who invest in Magic as a monetary investment, flipped the fuck out because the value of those cards dropped. The quotes from people freaking out are Ferengi in their quality. From a vendor point of view, this is potentially the biggest shock to the secondary market in Magic's history. Literally millions of dollars in value have evaporated in the span of an hour.
Right. So there's some people, for example, let's say you're a vendor, right? You're at you buy and sell Magic cards. And yesterday someone came into your store and was getting out of Magic, and they had one of these necessary Commander cards, and you bought it from them. And now today the value dropped. Your store just lost money. I have no pity for them. They're running a gambling house, basically,
yep.
Right?
Now, what about a kid who spent $100 to buy this from a store? I don't pity them either, because that's how you learn your lesson, to not buy expensive pieces of cardboard.
I pity them a little bit, right? Because
I bought a bunch of overpriced actually, so I should look this up because the
lesson is learned, but it's like if that, I don't know how much the cards cost, but that could be all that kid's money was spent on a card that's now worthless and he can't return it or get it back, and now you can't even use it to play Commander at any kind of official event. And his friends probably won't let him use it either in their local Commander.
Yep. Even though, even the people who are complaining agreed, it made the Commander format better in every way. It was a good game design decision.
Oh, God, there's no question about that.
Okay. My investment might have paid off. So in when I was a kid, I bought something. The stupidest thing I've ever purchased is at the back of Scryed magazine. Someone was selling every wall card from every edition of Magic that had come out up to that point, one of every in mint condition. Every single wall.
Always look so fun, but they were not useful.
Nope. So I saved up my money and I bought that thing for $90, which in 90s dollars, as a little kid, that was a lot of fucking money. I just looked up the values of those cards and did a quick Fermi math, and even with inflation, that was a really good investment, and I should go get those cards from my mom and sell them right now.
I saw a guy, it was a collecty, try to make money guy, from that kind of community. But it was a YouTube short where he had a revised pack that was sealed, and he's like, "Should I open it or should I
Yeah,
keep it
I have a revised
sealed?"
set. I'm not missing any
Yeah,
revised cards.
but I mean, he's like, "I paid this much money for this booster pack, right? I'm gonna open it and we'll see what's in there." Is revised booster from 1990X, whatever, 2, 3, I don't know.
Hey, a
And
mint wall of vapor from Legends, which is just one of them, goes for $200 right now.
okay,
They're all mint. I just got to get them graded and sell them.
yeah.
Anyway, that was still a stupid thing because you shouldn't be playing Magic to make money. Like that's a big part of why this problem happened. But
That's a big part of why Commander is popular, because you can play it to just play it.
So Hasbro is also angry because this fucks up their whole monetization strategy. They need the secondary market and all this nonsense to exist to drive people buying cards they're not even going to play with and drive this economy that is behind how they make money with Magic.
Right. If this card that is necessary to play Commander is in a booster that you can buy, somebody, instead of just buying that card outright, is going to maybe buy a bunch of boosters hoping to find that card, and then they can play Commander. And so WotC will sell packs. If there aren't cards that are worth a whole bunch of money in the secondary market, gamblers, right, will basically be like, "Oh, no matter what, if I open this booster, there will be," how many cards are in a Magic pack these days? 14, I think.
I have no idea.
However many cards are in here, right, will be playable Magic cards. That there's no chance of winning a lottery opening these packs, right, and making a bunch of money. Those people now no longer have any reason to gamble and buy a bunch of packs.
Yep.
And then less booster packs will be sold. Only people who care about playing will buy the booster packs, and WotC will make way less money.
Now, there's a lot more to this story, but I want to move on to the second story that's related to this. But the one thing I do respect is that the people who run this like management committee of Commander rules, they didn't back down. They voted unanimously to ban these. They defended their decision. They defended how the whole this conflict about the money aspect is stupid, and that's not our mission, and like we're not, and they were accused of corruption, that they somehow manipulated the market to move cards and ban these to make money somehow, yet no one could explain.
And it is possible that they might, maybe some of the people, I don't know, I don't have any evidence of this, but it is possible that if you were,
but you can't
knowledge,
short sell cards.
No, but you can sell cards. If you know that card's going to be banned soon and the announcement has not yet been made, you could go to a shop and sell it, and then the announcement is made.
You could, but the amount of money
it's
you could make...
It's a possibility. There's no evidence that I've seen that anyone actually did that.
The amount of money you could make from that is less than like one furry art commission.
I mean, if you think about it, if the card's worth, I'm just making up numbers, $100, and banning it's going to make it worth $1, and you sell it, and then you ban it afterwards, you just made $99.
Well, you destroyed someone else's 90, because if you didn't ban the card and you sold it, you still made the same.
But if you ban it, and then if you ban it first and then try to sell it, you are taking, that 99 damage is going to be.
Oh, but you could make
destroyed.
The same amount of money by just selling them and then not banning them. Banning them,
sure.
You can't make extra money by banning them unless you engage in a scheme that would, one, be too complex, two, wouldn't have a big enough payout. The juice is not worth the squeeze.
It's like if you basically fire a gun that's going to hit anyone who holding one of these cards.
But I'm saying
but
it can't
you know the bullet's coming, but no one else does. So you give your card to someone else, and they say, "Ooh, thank you," and then the bullet hits them.
Yeah,
and you go,
but it doesn't.
That's mean. That's not nice.
You can't short sell Magic cards. So
I'm just saying it's not nice, and it's possible that someone could have done that.
Yeah, but I don't see any reason or means for someone to have done that effectively. But anyway, just props to the committee for sticking with this. But the bigger news, which is from yesterday, Magic's Commander format is going to get a digital version.
Well, you forgot the other news, which is that that committee basically said, "All right, fine, fuck it, WotC, you manage it. We're done."
You know why the committee backed down and said fuck it? Because they were getting death threats from the fans.
Yeah. So anyway, the new news that was the month or two old news, right?
Yeah.
The new news is they're making a video game of Commander.
This announcement comes less than 2 months since the community-created format changed custodianship.
So that, I think, is actually, depending on how that format works, the video game, I don't know if it's going to be an add-on for MTG Arena or its own thing or something,
I
but
mean, you're definitely going to have to buy digital versions of Magic cards to play this, and
no,
I'm
that's a
confident.
shame.
I'm confident you'll be able to pay $100 to get these cards that are definitely going to be unbanned.
Yeah. But it's like, imagine if they had one that was a video game.
If I could pay $20 to just play Commander with any Magic card online, I would pay that right now.
I would pay that so fast. I would pay maybe more than $20.
Yeah, I'd pay a AAA game because Commander, it sounds real fun, and
it is real fun.
Yeah, but I've never played it.
Even though I've never played it, I know it's real fun.
But yeah, anyway, total aside, if any of you out there are interested in a full revised set, it's not all mint. It was heavily played, but a revised set of Magic the Gathering. I'm probably going to get it from I will sell it.
$1.
I will sell it for more than Scott is bidding.
$2.
Also, I got to go through it and organize it and make sure no cards are missing or anything, because these are in binders that haven't been touched since probably the year 1999.
I sure hope the plastic didn't melt onto the cards.
I hope so too. But the special cards were stored in different hard shields.
You use the hard shields. I never use the hard.
I use those for the special cards, like those fucking walls that I spent $90 on.
Okay.
I remember in the lunchroom, kids stood around while I showed them the walls one by one. So you got any news?
Just a tiny news, right? The day after Thanksgiving, if you don't know, the day after American United States Thanksgiving, this Friday, November 20. It's late this year. Where's my calendar? November 27th.
Yep.
No, November 29th. 27th is tomorrow. November 29th, Friday. On that day is a day where, a lot of shopping and consumerism and capitalism occurs. Participate or not at your peril.
I would suggest
as your morality determines.
I'm gonna give you some advice, because if you're not, the fascists winning the election was real bad, but one tiny side effect of this, come January, there are very likely going to be extreme tariffs against China, Canada, and Mexico. So if there's anything that you think you wanted to buy in general that you have not bought yet, I would suggest buying it before January, because the prices of everything are about to skyrocket.
We'll see, right? Regardless, itch.io, the amazing website that has still yet to inshitify, as far as I can tell, where indie creators of mostly tiny video games, but also other digital goods like RPG PDFs and such, they are going to have a sale. The sale is running, actually, starting Wednesday. But on Friday, not only will that sale be running, but they are going to have a special day where creators, whoever, will get 100% of the money, and itch.io will take none of the money. So if you buy an RPG PDF for $10 on Friday, I guess the credit card processor will take their cut, but itch.io won't. So the person who made that PDF will get the $10, as opposed to, I don't know what the cut is normally. And so if you have things you want to buy in itch.io, don't buy them. Wait until Friday, and then buy a whole bunch, and then stop by, and then don't buy.
All right, put a little marker. Not meta moment. Move that out of the way. But anyway, things of the day. This video is titled "Do Not Watch This Video," and it's short. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds long, which you're listening to Geek Nights, so you probably immediately thought that's how long an anime opener is. Well, this is a Quake 2 plus, actually more like edging into Final Fantasy VIII era graphics, fake anime opener with a bunch of rabbits that has crammed into itself, I believe, every trope of every anime opener between the year 1991 and 1999. It's great to watch. This is it's a delight on the eyes, and I highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you got?
All right, so Tony Hawk, legendary skateboarding individual, He came across this photo of a 10-year-old girl skateboarding down a road where it was raining or had recently rained while carrying an umbrella and with one hand in the pocket. It's a terrific photo from 1979. It's a 45-year-old photo. And Tony Hawk said, "Damn, what an amazing photo of skateboarding." You know me, he's Mr. Skateboarding, basically, right? He's like, "Who is the 10-year-old girl in this photo? Can we find her? That would be amazing." And sure enough, obviously they did find that person. And the whole story is in this post. And you can read about everything that occurred before and after, the taking of the photo, Tony Hawk finding the photo, etc.
The Fayetteville Observer will appear.
Yeah, that's where the photo appeared originally, because it was a journalist for the local newspaper who took the photo.
In the Meta Moment, we're going to be live real soon, December 6th at PAX Unplugged with an updated version of Take Your Fucking Turn at noon in the Kelpie Theater. And then right after that at 1:30 p.m. in the Mox Game Lounge, otherwise known as Room 201A, learn and play Deep Sea Adventure Boost. We'll be teaching everyone how to play a bunch of rich jerks sharing oxygen on a submarine in a push your luck game that has been expanded to include...
Are they rich? I feel like they're not rich. They're trying to get rich.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to get rich. This is not a Scrooge McDuck type of endeavor. This is a bunch of Glomgold's adventure.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he was also rich, technically.
They're right in the intro of DuckTales, you do see Scrooge with the little underwater with the helmet trying to grab the treasure chest.
Yeah, there are multiple underwater arcs in every form of DuckTales.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I guess should we get into it? Obelus. We played a tabletop game, a new one that we have not played before, and we can talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this game on the internet, and it looked like a kind of game that we enjoy, a two-player game that is mostly abstract and simple in its rules, but, the kind that might elicit complex gameplay and strategy.
Yep.
So I picked it up. It was cheap. It was tiny. Doesn't take up a lot of room in my apartment. I played it with some coworkers while I was in the other side of the country. I played it at PAX West with some people. Rim was not at either of those things.
Yep.
And then I came back to the East Coast, and eventually, I think by Halloween, I played it with Rim a few times. It doesn't take more than a few times. You might think, oh, you're reviewing a game after you played it a few times. It's like, well, listen, we haven't mastered the game.
I mean, I've reviewed games from half a playthrough and reading the rules, so...
Yeah. There's not much to this game since it's so tiny. We can't give you like the winning strategy because I haven't played it that much. Some players I beat handily, and some players dominate. One coworker just totally crushed me.
Yeah,
I couldn't. He figured it out like in 2 seconds.
But it's pretty good. Like the quick version of this review is it's the kind of game that you want to like. I would keep this on me if I was at a convention to just quickly play with another person while I'm waiting for the main event to happen or some other game to finish.
Yeah. But I think the game only appeals to a person who would like enjoy an abstract kind of two-player competitive thing, right?
Yeah, it's like the kids who played Nim, which you may also know as the game where you draw a few little stick lines in a row on a piece of paper and take turns crossing them off. It's basically a highly evolved form of that.
I think it's something that like a chess player, you could like distract them with it for a bit.
Yeah.
Right? They like, it's like if they're waiting for the next game during a chess tournament, they'd play an Obelus or two. Right?
Yep.
And be like, ooh, but and they might, but they wouldn't like. You can't make Obelus like your game and play it a whole bunch.
No,
right? It's
not
game
a lifestyle game.
No, it's a two-player fillery game. A quick one that still gives your mind something really to think about. That's a bit challenging. But before you have to think too hard, it ends.
Yep. So designed by Chris A. Williams, who I was not familiar with, and he's done a few other games that actually all look about the same level of depth. But Obelus is apparently a rework of another game he designed called Dark Spires.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that until today, thanks to Board Game Geek, that Obelus is a remake. I thought it was an original. I mean, the original and Obelus are both by the same person, so it's like they remade their own game better. Like they improved their own game and printed a new version with better art and better pieces.
Yeah, which is honestly a good way to go.
Yeah, and I read the rules of Dark Spires, and having only played Obelus, I can tell you, they improved upon the rules of Dark Spires. There's no reason to play Dark Spires other than as an educational exercise in like game development of like why is Obelus better? Obelus is just better. They made a game, they played it, they improved it, and they printed it again. It's Dark Spires 2.0. Dark Spires 1.0 can go die in a fire. It's not that much worse, but it is meaningfully worse.
So what do? You lay 8 cards in a little circle.
Yep.
And then you basically just take turns either putting a guy on an obelisk or moving one of your guys from one of the obelisks to another obelisk.
Now, the catch is that all your guys, you only have 4 guys, and each guy is a D4. And when you want to move a guy, you can move him clockwise or counterclockwise, but he can only move the number of spaces equal to the current number on the D4.
Yep,
so
got a 1, you can only move 1 space.
So it can either go 1 left or 1 right. A 2 can go 2 left or 2 right. And a 4 only has 1 move. It can go straight across the board because it's an 8-space circle, but it can go left or right to reach the across the board. Also, the 4, you can have as many 1s, 2s, and 3s as you want. You can only have 1 4 because 4s are special. They basically can't be killed except by another 4. They're super strong. And yes, pieces can be killed. If you land on an enemy piece, you bump it off. And if you land on a place where your guy has been bumped off, you can rescue them. But you cannot jump over an enemy piece when you move. So they block you in. You can jump over your own pieces, but you can't land on your own pieces. So when the board starts to fill up with more dudes, it can become difficult to move. There's like some pieces just won't have legal moves, and you might have to take the only legal move available to you, or you might have to just bring a new guy onto the board because you can't make a legal move. You can only make a legal summon. And the game ends when one player does not have any legal moves available to them. They lose, game over, the other person wins.
Yep. Takes about 6 minutes to play once you know the rules. Like it is real quick. And I can say that in the course of a few plays, I can see some strategies. I'd say this is we bring up modulus math a lot in games, and this game is a modulus math game. However, you don't need to actually do any modulus math because the board is so small. You just have to really think about the different, 2s and 4s can only interact with certain parts of the board, but 3s can sort of rotate around and hit different parts of the board as they move, and 1s are just sort of obvious to deal with. So you can do a little bit of analysis to try to corner people. The game is very, I would say, strictly choreographed, and I suspect it wouldn't take a ton of play to figure out the solution, because either player 1 will always win or player 2 will always win. But
I don't know if that's true for sure, but there's no way to tie.
It has to be true.
So there's no way to force a tie. So because there's no way to force a tie, there must be some Nash equilibrium where either the first player wins or the second.
Yep. Well, the thing is, because
for the first player to force a win or the second player to force a win.
Because obelisks get burned and can't be used for resurrections anymore as the game goes on, that is the mechanical clock that forces a conclusion, and it forces. Yep. I don't believe the game. The only chance that the game does not have a solution where either the first player or second player is guaranteed to win would be if the game can get into a state where both players can continue to play forever. But I don't know if that is possible. I think it could be analyzed, but I have not done so.
I mean, I guess if you could just move sort of back and forth a bit without attacking each other.
Yep. But the question is not, can both players conspire to move in such a circular fashion that the game never ends? The question is, can one player force the game to a conclusion?
Yes, exactly. So yeah, Rim alluded to it, but the one mechanic that I did not see in the rules of Dark Spires, Dark Spire had a different rule that was worse, is that whenever you start the game and one of the 8 spaces has a red gem on it that basically says you cannot summon here. Otherwise, it's normal space. You can move there, right? You can rescue there, you can kill people there, but you can't summon there. And anytime somebody is rescued, you add another red gem to another space. So basically, after 7 rescues have occurred, no matter what, they're all the spaces will have red gems on them, which means no more summoning can occur.
Mm-hmm.
And if no more summoning can occur, any piece that is not on the board cannot re-enter the board. You'll simply have the pieces available to you. You'll be forced to move them on your turn. Otherwise, you lose if you can't have a legal move. And eventually, by moving them around, somebody will eventually get their last piece killed unavoidably,
or just be unable to move.
Yeah, it's like, could there be a way where, both players in that situation have like one piece each and just keep moving back and forth without ever putting themselves in a
Chasing
position
each other
where they could be killed on their turn?
Yep. So that could be, I could imagine that is a state, if the game could get into a state where...
some sort of stalemate?
Oh, the problem is, if I take a piece and it is your penultimate piece, we need the game to be in a state where we both just have a 1, but then I'll be next to you. I guess if you had a 2, you couldn't move past me, and then I had a 1. I'd have to do some analysis.
I think it would be, you have 2 pieces left and I have 1. I kill one of your pieces. I capture it. It can't come back because it's red.
And now I can't catch you, and you can't catch me.
I'm far away. My last remaining piece is far away from your last remaining piece. You have a small number. You can't reach me. And so you move a small move, and then I move, and we always back and forth. You have to change your number whenever you move.
Yep.
You can't stay on the same number. So that helps a little bit. But you could switch back and forth between like 1 and 2, right? Consecutively, like 1, 2, 1, 2, and just always stay far away from the other player.
So thus, if the game
because
is
if you change to 3, you might give the other person an opportunity to like get close to you, and that would be threatening, right? So,
so we'd have to look at the modulus math of the fact that there are 8 spaces and small numbers of pieces that might remain. But either player 1 always wins, player 2 always wins, or the question is, can one player force the game to a conclusion, or can one player prevent the game from ending no matter what the other player attempts to do? Because if I can prevent the game from ever ending, the game will be a draw and last forever, and that is a possible outcome.
It's still, if you like other small, abstract 2-player strategy games, whether that don't take a long time and don't take up a lot of space. So you want to play chess in 2 seconds. This is even smaller than the Duke.
Right.
It's smaller than Oshi. And it there's not you can play a random mode where you roll the dice, or you can play the pure mode where you don't roll the dice.
Play the pure mode. It's just better.
Yeah, I mean, but some people might want to mix it up with a little randomness on if they just what they want to do. But yeah, the pure mode is the only mode, right, that really,
Yeah, but it's a pretty good game. Like if you didn't own it, I'd probably pick up a copy, and I imagine you'll have it in your messenger bag when we're walking around PAX, and we'll play it while we're waiting for some other game to finish.
And if you want to buy it, you will go to phaseshiftgames.com, I believe, is the publisher. And is it actually, I don't know if they have copies right now. Oh, no, the MSRP is $20, but I don't know if you can actually get one or not. I pre-ordered it.
Yep. And
oh, no, they have it. They have it for, do they?
Now
I don't know if you
point
can buy
out,
it right now.
one industry that's going to be hit exceedingly and exceptionally hard by these ridiculous tariffs is going to be the tabletop industry. So if there's any board game you want, buy it now.
Get a digital version.
Yep.
That can't, or just buy a bunch of game components, like a whole bunch of them. I already have a bunch, but then you can just play any game. Just make it with pieces.
Feel like we're going to spend a lot of time on Board Game Arena in the time to come.
We'll see. I mean, don't buy that many games anyway.
True. In fact, I actually want to go back into the old library. I want to play La Chita again. I saw it up there, and I suddenly remembered that I like that game.
Yeah, it's okay. The politics cards.
Yeah, I've only played it a few times. I brought it to a MagFest right before the pandemic, and then we didn't